Today I'm going to look through an online auction for possible future furniture flips. I'm going to walk you through a few pieces that caught my eye and talk about what I'd bid on, what I'd skip, and what red flags I look for before spending any money. I'm not affiliated with this auction company. I'm just simply using it as an example of how I evaluate pieces before I bid. Before bidding on any piece of furniture, you always want to check with the auction's terms and conditions. Make sure you take a look at their buyer's premium. It can vary, but a lot of auction houses charge a percentage of the sale that's added to your total. Also, don't forget about sales tax, and most auction houses charge an additional fee if you use a credit or a debit card. Next up, you need to check is the pickup details. Is it in a location that you can easily drive to? Is it on a day that you're available? Every different auction is house does it differently. And just because they're in one location doesn't mean they don't have an auction that's 2 hours away. So you need to make sure that even if it's a local auction house, that the auction itself is within your driving distance. You also need to make sure that it is on a day that you are available. Most auction houses, they have very specific day where they have for pickup, and they have an allotted time. Many of them ask for an appointment that you have to set up so they don't have everybody come in at the same time. So you need to make sure that you and your help are available within that time frame. The next thing is, can I move it? Do you have a truck? Do you need a trailer? All of these things are things you got to think about before you bid on a piece. If you don't have the means to pick it up, you probably shouldn't bid on it. The next thing is do I have the room? Not only do you have to have the room to flip a piece of a certain size, but if it doesn't sell right away, you need to make sure that you have the room to store it for an extended amount of time if you need to. And lastly, does it have high resale value? You don't want to waste your time in a smaller piece and make smaller profits. You got to think not just in price, but also how long will it sit before selling. So you got to think about the amount of money that you're putting into it and how long it's going to be before you get that money back. Now let's take a look at the pieces. First up is an ornate dresser with a mirror. This is the kind of piece that immediately catches my eye because it has shape, carving, personality. The mirror is very pretty. The serpentine drawer fronts are charming, and it has that romantic kind of antique look that could photograph beautifully. But then I go straight into the caution. The auction photos are tricky. Pretty doesn't always mean profitable, but with this one, the top looks like it has some veneer damage. I'm not sure whether the mirror is secure because in one picture it's on and the next one it's not. Whether the drawers slide well, whether there's any kind of musty smell. So this is a maybe for me. I like the look, but I would only bid low. And I mean low, like maybe $30 because it could turn into a lot of work fast. This one doesn't look as pretty at first, but this is actually the kind of piece I pause on because the shape is useful. It has two small drawers over two larger drawers. It can work as an entry table, a small dresser, a craft storage, bathroom storage, coffee bar, kitchen. I mean, there's so many different things that you could use this for. The red flag is the condition, of course. It's an antique. The finish is rough. The top looks worn. There's scuffs on the drawer fronts. And I'd kind of like to know whether the drawers actually work. And a tip is a lot of auctions, they do have an open house on some of them where, not always, but you can go and view the piece in person before you actually bid on it. If they have that and you're interested, make sure you look at that. But a piece like this could be a good flip. But I do think it's a more flexible than the ornate dresser from the first. It could fit more buyers because it's very simple. It would be a lot easier to style modern, cottage, moody, primitive. Yes, it needs a drawer check, but the top may just need painting and sanding. So this is a stronger resale piece for me than it looks. I'd still keep my bid low around $30 because it obviously does need work. It's not fancy, but I think it's useful. And I probably, I don't know, probably paint the base, do like a moody paint on the frame, maybe see if I can rescue the top. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could do with this one. Next up is a George Z and Company nesting table, and it comes with a bonus, a little child rocker. These nesting tables are actually one of the more practical auction finds for a furniture flipper because they're small. They're easy to move, they're easy to store, and they're easy to stage. These do have these really cool little carved recess details. I'm not sure what they are. It's kind of hard to tell from the photos, but it does give them a little more personality than just plain nesting tables. They're not huge money pieces though. This is not where I'd expect to, have a $400 flip. This is more of a quick, smaller item that could be styled as side tables, plant stands, apartment furniture. I'd be interested in the nesting tables if the price stayed low in the auction. The child rocker is cute, but it definitely is more of a bonus. It's not the main reason to buy the lot. But for the whole lot, I'd probably want to stay around $20, $30. It would be some pretty easy small inventory, but I wouldn't chase it. And lastly, our fourth piece, this bedroom suite is the kind of piece that makes you stop because the carving is beautiful, the headboard and the mirror have a lot of presence and the right setting. This could be gorgeous. But this is where I have to separate pretty from profitable. A full antique bedroom suite is harder to sell than a single dresser. The bed is a full size and the footboard is pretty tall. And a lot of modern buyers don't want antique beds unless it could possibly convert to a queen. The other thing is you have to check the description in the auction. For this one in particular, it says mattress and box spring is included, which means whenever you bid on something, you have to take it all. You can't just pick and choose what you want. So whether you want the mattress and box spring, you've got to take it. So if you don't want that or need it or you can't sell it, you've got to dispose of it. And here at our recycling center, it can cost $60 for a trailer with a box spring and a mattress on it to dispose of. So you got to put that into your costs. One thing that this listing does have as a pro is this quilt that it has on the bed. Now it looks like a vintage quilt. I have sold vintage quilts from other auctions and they sell on Etsy for like $185. So if you look at it that way and you have the room and the means to get rid of a mattress and box spring, that quilt alone could help take care of the cost of getting rid of it. But then you still have that bed frame that would be really hard to get rid of. You basically be buying the dresser because I value the dresser and the mirror more than I do the bed. But so I would not buy this unless it was super cheap because it's a lot of work transporting all of that, getting rid of the things that you don't need. And it's literally for just the dresser. So you've got a lot of extra headache for not much more profit. So when I look at all of this auction furniture, I'm not just asking myself, do I like it? I'm asking questions like, can I move it? Is it repairable? How will it photograph whenever I get it done? Will it sell? Will it sell fast? Is the price low enough to survive any surprises that come along the way? And if I were ranking these from most realistic to most risky, here's how I'd look at them. First, the nesting tables, the most practical because they're small, they're useful, they're easy to move, and they don't require a huge makeover. They won't make a huge profit, but they will work. The second one I would rank up there is the plain, just kind of rough dresser. It has good potential. It has storage. It can fit many more homes. It has many more potentials for flipping in different styles. And if the drawers are solid and the top would be even solid, that would be even better. Third, I would rank the ornate dresser with a mirror. It's pretty and it's photogenic, but it's more delicate, more specific. It has a lot of details that it would be harder to sell later, keeping it as is and refinishing it. The bedroom suit, I would put it last. It's the most dramatic, but it's also the biggest risk because of the bed size, the storage that you would need, the transportation you would need, and you'd have a smaller buyer pool if you try to keep it together. Otherwise, you would just have the dresser. So you would have a lot of waste in that listing. And that doesn't mean that the bedroom suit is bad. It just means it has to be cheap enough to make the risk make sense. One mistake I try not to make in bidding based on what something could be in a perfect world. I have to bid based on worst case versions. If it smells, the drawers stick, the veneers need work, or it takes longer to sell than I expect. My max bid has to leave room for supplies. The time it takes to redo it, the pickup, the hassle, the buyer's premiums, the profits, you have to put all of that in your thinking whenever you're bidding on stuff. So don't bid on the fantasy version, bid on a realistic version, and then ask yourself, do you need to bid or do you need to pass? And one final note I'll say, whenever you're bidding on a piece, do not get emotionally attached to it. You could get in a bidding war and pay way more than it's worth. You need to keep the emotions out of it and just look at it as the project for what it is. So if you like this kind of auction walkthrough, I can do more would I bid on it videos and show the pieces that actually come home with me. Thanks for watching.